Hello everyone, thank you for watching. In this video, I will show you an example of an installed Survivor hilt and an example of one. As you can see, the chassis is not in the hilt yet, but it is fully installed. And basically how you can install the chassis and remove it separately from the hilt if you have to weather your hilt or do anything else like that, and sort of the premise behind this particular design, which is similar to the double crystal chamber build, which also uses the twist and click feature. So first I want to show you this hilt right here, which is installed already. The chassis is inside. I'm gonna go ahead and boot that up. Before I do that, I should probably flip the kill switch. So we had a customer order 2 of these installed, both with CFX, and these also actually have the optional LED add-on on the bottom. This would be if they decide to add the damage grip with the shine through pommel, the damage grip / pommel, or just to have it as is. This chassis also is compatible with the stack configuration, which I will also go over here on how to set that up. Now this hilt has all of the parts attached. It's already clocked as far as the grip goes. This one, as you can see, is still missing some of the parts because it's not fully assembled yet, and I'll explain why. So we're gonna go ahead and boot that up. Gesture controls. So the chassis installed is going to be the same chassis laid out right here, and I'm going to explain pretty much how that goes in and how you can take it out. So if you receive one of these hilts empty and you plan on installing it, this is pretty much how you'll receive it. With this not attached, so you'll take this off, and the next thing you want to do is you want to get these shrouds taken off. So you're going to take this ring, this top ring, is going to unthread. Sometimes it might be a little tight, so make sure you get a good grip on it. If you need to, wipe off your fingers and slowly turn it a little bit to the right. So you will feel that it starts to get loose, and just with a bunch of little tiny rotations, just keep at it until it comes off. Almost there. Okay, so once this ring is off, you can go ahead and slide these shrouds. And next you're going to notice on two sides here, there are a couple of set screws. Now these do have a functional purpose. How they relate to these pieces right here and everything, I will explain in just a sec. So before that, I want to just kind of show how this chassis actually works with the twist and click. Twist and click is a concept from Jimmy Saber Junk. It's fairly recent, developed within the last year or so, but I feel like it's going to be more and more common with more chassis designs that we see from him. It's really neat. It's essentially how your chassis is going to be retained to upper pieces like this, things that utilize these special PCB sets, these rotary chassis PCBs, without any set screws. So they have a special groove that matches up, and there is a twist and a click sound which keeps it from falling out, and this chassis is retained, and it connects everything together. I went ahead and hit the kill switch to flip this one on and to test the button. And with a twist to the opposite direction, it comes out. Let's go ahead and flip the kill switch off. This is an identical CFX build, similar to this one with the pommel accent LED. So when you're putting this into your Saber, the Survivor, you're going to grab this right here, which is included with the kit. And you're going to start with this piece right here. This is going to go into the emitter. Now this bottom piece is going to line up with these pins, this thin neck PCB set. When you're assembling this outside of the hilt, it's not recommended, if this was connected like this, it's not recommended to try and test this outside of the hilt, because if you misalign these pins, you have a chance of shorting this out, and it's just very easy to do. So don't try and mess with it outside of the hilt. Make sure it's all contained where it needs to go first. So you're going to drop this piece in here. Using your finger to make sure it's pressed down all the way. And you're going to come back, and this is for the top screw. Top screw will need to go in quite a bit until you feel it make contact. Don't need to over tighten it. Go ahead and do the same on the other side. That is going to keep that piece that I just inserted in place. There you go. So now both screws are tightened down. Now for the next part, we're going to insert this on this piece right here. Go ahead and take that off. And this will sit right here. Make sure it can kind of spin freely like that. Should be a little bit loose. And then take your chassis, and you're going to insert that. Get that lined up. So then you can just line this up. This button will line up with this switch. Try and keep a mark on where it's at so you don't have any issues. Get a little test click. Okay. Now from there, you're going to tighten the part that you're going to be tightening down. Essentially going to be right up here. So this screw will basically tighten this and hold it in place so that it stays straight. Even without that screw, it shouldn't move too much because this plunger will fit into the slot and it shouldn't move, but just to make sure it's nice and straight, that's what that screw is for. Okay. Once you get that locked in, you can tighten this down. The reason I put a little bit of downward pressure or pressed it down while I was tightening this up is just to make sure everything is lined up properly, because those pins on the inside are going to compress. And if you let them, if you don't put pressure on it, they're going to press down just a little bit and it might just mess up. Everything fits together. So then I just untwisted that, took it out, and that piece should be nice and locked inside. We'll go ahead and test this out first. There we go. Twist off. All right. Then you're going to go ahead and put the shrouds back on, same way you took them off. Slide them over the top. There we go. There we go. And then retighten this ring. Okay. All right. Now when you first go to put this grip back on, there's a good chance that this is not going to line up. Before I do that, because that is not a pleasant sound, one tip I always recommend when putting threads back on for the first time, or any time, use some white lithium grease. Apply a little bit of that to the inside of your threads. And that should eliminate that squeaky sound if you have it. Not all threads need it, but honestly just kind of prolongs life of your threading. Oh. Okay, so when you put this on, this is going to still spin pretty freely. And the reason being is because we have not put the set screws in here to lock it into place, which is what these are for in this little bag. There's 6 in a bag, 3 for each side. So when you're ready to lock everything in, just dump those out neatly so you don't lose them. And you're going to lock them in. Now I'm only going to do one just for now, just to kind of get the point across. But when you put all those in, then when you go to take the grip off, now this piece is locked into place. So then you have clocked it correctly so that this all lines up. Now, going from a single hilt to a staff, if you're wondering what is required, the answer is not really much. So this chassis design is already compatible for the staff because it's short and it's only going to take up less than half of the space here. So if you have 2 hilts, like this customer, you take off the pommel, take off the grip for the other one, and doesn't really matter what you do with this, set it to the side or just make yourself a fun little, whatever you want to call this. That's your extra piece. So now you're going to thread this on. Now whether you want to thread it on that way or the other way, it doesn't really matter. But basically it will be incorrectly clocked. So then you come back to this screw or all the screws that you had before. Go ahead and loosen that back up. All right, now let's rotate this back until we have it lined up. Tighten it again. Now you have a staff. That's pretty much all you need. There's no extra coupler or any pieces. Go ahead and fire this thing up. Switch. So if you clock it for a staff, then every time you go to put it back together, it'll already be tightened up where it needs to go. Oops. That twist on is a little sensitive.